This episode is brought to you by Farmers Insurance. When was the last time you reviewed your insurance policy? So it's been a while, huh? Well, no worries. My friends at the Austin Brummett Agency would love to hear from you and provide you with some amazing rates. Give them a call at 678-402-8262 or email them at abrummett@farmersagent.com. That's ABRUMIT@farmersagent.com, and tell them Harley sent you. Insiders, Inside the Bubble with Harli G is now sponsored by BetterHelp. As a partner of this episode, listeners can access the BetterHelp link located in the show notes to receive 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp and get matched with a therapist who will listen and help. Go to BetterHelp, that is BetterHelp.com/inside the bubble, the link to get started. You're listening to Inside the Bubble with Harli G, the podcast for the superwoman. Every week, we connect with amazing individuals who share their inspirational experiences and stories while motivating and inspiring purpose. It's time to hang your cape. Grab your coffee, your water, your cocktail, and come on in Inside the Bubble with me, your host, Harli G. So welcome, insiders. Today, I am truly honored to have the one and only Egypt SHERROD on the show. So if you follow HGTV, and I love me some HGTV, that is one of my TV guilty pleasures. You may know her from her show Married to Real Estate, where her husband and herself do everything from rebuilding, renovating houses and then selling them. And so Egypt has a long history in entertainment as well. And she is married, obviously, has daughters. And today we're going to talk about her journey to purpose and how she is able to manage everything that she is into right now. So welcome, Miss Egypt. Thank you so much for coming on today. And I kind of want to start with, how did you even get in this industry? Like what brought you into the media industry, entertainment, and then real estate?
Truthfully, I tripped and fell into it.
Okay.
I think, it's really, okay. So I was a student at Temple University in Philadelphia.
Yep.
And I had to pay my way through school. After losing a scholarship at NYU, I transferred to Temple. And my parents were like, "You lost your scholarship, it's on you." So I had to pay my way through school, and I looked for an on-campus job. And at the time, I was going to school for film and theater. And the only place I could find a job was as a receptionist at the campus radio station.
Okay.
So I was working there and just kind of being in the environment, found my comfort zone. And, at the time, we didn't have where you could just, transfer someone through. Oh God, am I dating myself? But it was like, call on line 2. Okay, Mr. Jackson, call on line 3, that type of thing. The production director, I remember one day, came to the front and said, "You have a lot of personality and you have a really cool voice. You should try to come back to the production studio and let me work with you and train you to maybe voice commercials." That's what it was. And I was like, this old man trying to hit on me. And but he wasn't. He was trying to sow seeds into me. He was trying to plant me. So I'm glad I chose to go. And after a few months of him working with me and me really fine-tuning my voice on the radio, there was an opportunity that came up to host the nighttime radio show on the station at that time. It was called Turn on the Quiet, which is so funny because I had never really listened to jazz, but it was a jazz radio station, and I landed the job. So
Yay.
here I am, 19,
Mm-hmm.
hosting the primetime show on the station. And I learned my way. I worked my way through it. I studied, I researched so that I could master it.
Mm-hmm.
Went from there to host radio and be a production director in Philadelphia on one of the Radio One stations.
Mm-hmm.
Afterward, with Miss Kathy Hughes, and my career just started to take off. From there, I went to Baltimore and DC, and then to New York City, the #1 media market in the world, where I hosted middays on WBLS, which was just a heritage radio station for the city. And then from there, Power 105. I mean, my career literally just the decision to say yes way back when and trust the process and stretch myself and do things that I'd never done really put skates on my feet. And I just went, because all of this I just listed happened in a 3-year time.
Wow.
3 years.
Okay. So
That's how I got started.
Wow. And so you're on the up and up, your career is taking off, you're still very young. You still are young, by the way. You're young and you're taking off in the industry. What are some challenges that you felt like you came across at the time?
Well, there were a few, as a woman, a young woman in the entertainment industry. I mean, there are just some vipers out there. There's some wolves, and they see an opportunity, they want to take it. And I had to protect myself, and define some rules, some set of rules for myself to abide by so that I could be successful and have longevity, which unfortunately I saw at the time, a lot of women in that business were not having longevity. And the biggest reason why is they were sleeping with the folks in the industry. They were getting involved romantically with the people in the business. And so that was one rule I set for myself. I just would not. If you were somebody I had to work with, I would not.
Right.
And I think that helped me stay out of sticky situations and prolong my career a bit. Also, I kept doing the work. I wanted to be better. I challenged myself. It was, if I set the bar here, once I reach that bar, I got to set another one. But also continue to grow myself as a broadcaster. I knew that there was an expiration date on women in radio, unfortunately, at that time. So what was going to be my next gig? How would I use this career to springboard me? And I started to take classes learning how to project on television as well. I put myself out there just to do it and learn. So I remember I got my first television gig. There was a TV show called Urban Expressions. It was a local video show back when you used to have video hosts, right?
Yes.
And I was in a competition to get the show, and I got it. And I fell in love with TV as well. So from there to BET, to hosting a show on NBC called Home Delivery, which was like a big primetime show, to goodness, I had several, and then to HGTV eventually. All the while, now here's the trick. All the while, I was building my career, but also still building my backup career. Because again, entertainment is very fragile. One day you could come in and just not have a job. It has happened to me twice. So I would not have been able to sustain myself, my lifestyle, my homes, my financial picture, had I not also been working and building a plan B. And for me, that career was real estate. I was also selling real estate through it all. Yeah.
Okay. And so you talk about your career and how you were very strategic in establishing that, setting those boundaries for yourself. And in the meantime, how was your personal life? Like, what? She's like, oh.
Is this a joke? What are you talking about? What personal life?
How, especially when you are, you're younger and you're building your career. Some women find that, I'm gonna put this on hold and focus on this, and then once this is settled, then I'll pivot and I'll focus on the personal. So for you, how did you juggle both?
I didn't juggle both. What I have learned, Harley, on my journey is some things are meant to be prioritized, not juggled, not balanced. And it just wasn't time for that. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really how I get over some of my past mistakes in relationships. It just wasn't my time. You know,
Okay.
I'd been engaged before. I'd been in toxic relationships. Just like everybody else during that time where I was building my career, I could not prioritize those
Mm-hmm.
relationships. I couldn't prioritize. I wasn't chasing anybody's telephones, I wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to build myself and didn't want to compromise or sacrifice what I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to build for myself. And unfortunately, at that time, a lot of the relationships I found myself in would have required a lot from me. It would have required a lot of compromise and sacrifice that at that age, I wasn't prepared to give. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I don't fault them anymore. Back in the day, you're like, oh, that's the one that cheated on me. Oh,
Yeah.
that's the one that had the baby on me. I don't fault them anymore. And I own my lack of contribution
Mm-hmm.
to the future of those relationships. It wasn't time for me. But
Okay.
when it was time, when I felt that, what, I've accomplished a lot of things. I've amassed assets. I've, built my career reputation. I'm out walking these red carpets and I go home alone and I'm sad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going home. I don't have anybody to tell about this. And I'm crying myself to sleep because you start to
Mm-hmm.
realize, geez, like I'm getting kind of up there in age. All of my friends are having babies and get married and getting divorced. And I
Mm-hmm.
haven't been started on that
Mm-hmm.
side of the journey. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So for someone like you who I saw there was a post that you put up there, somebody was like, did Egypt have some work done? And you're like, no, I didn't get work done. I had a child after 40, you're like, no, this is life. Okay.
Let's be
So,
clear. Let's be clear. I have had work done, but
okay.
I didn't have the work done that they were claiming. I,
Implant.
I
Yes.
haven't had facelifts. I haven't had butt implants or whatever you call them. No, I
Yes.
haven't had that. But I had some work done. I mean, you know, I don't think, and you talk specifically to women, right?
Mm-hmm.
So after you have babies, they do things to your body. They stretch you, they contort you, not just on the outside, but on the inside. And after I had my last one, she's 4,
Mm-hmm.
Harper. I mean, I was 42 when I had her.
Mm-hmm.
So my insides weren't,
The same.
so I found myself having prolapse
Mm-hmm.
afterward. And that's a real thing. Fortunately, not a lot of women deal with it, but some women really
Mm-hmm.
do have
Mm-hmm.
diastasis recti, which is
Mm-hmm.
separation of
The
your
abdominals.
abdominal
Yep.
muscles, and
Mm-hmm.
prolapse where they got to put you back together, baby. So I had that kind of work done.
Yes.
And then it's like, while y'all at it, give me a breast reduction. Because these suckers are heavy. Give
What
me a
you
reduction.
said right there. What you said right there. I'm in the same boat. I had two and then got pregnant, but got bamboozled with twins.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so you're talking about this extra skin situation that was happening down there. And I had the same thing with the abdominal. Just like you would lay down and your skin would just like cave in. It was
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah. It's real. I think we have to give ourselves grace,
yes,
right?
absolutely.
Because when we talk about women falling into postpartum depression,
Oh
or
yeah.
really just struggling to find themselves after
Mm-hmm.
having children, that is a very
Mm-hmm.
real thing,
Absolutely.
and that surpasses any wealth class, that surpasses
Mm-hmm.
any level of fame, or I mean, we are all one in that space, and we got to give
Absolutely.
ourselves some grace that we have literally just bought lives
Yes.
into the world. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes.
I think about, in history, women were having babies back when they were 14 and 15. They were when their bodies and their cores were strong. They were
Yeah.
having and spitting out 8 children. Yeah, you can
Mm-hmm.
do that when babies. And then it was most women now are having babies and they're still
Later.
in their 20s and in their
Yeah.
30s.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I found myself in a class that you could have never told me I'd be in, having babies in my 40s. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
you know, I have to give, just we all have to give ourselves grace for that.
Absolutely.
But your body is a living, breathing thing, and you gotta constantly be working on it and take care of it. And yeah, there it is right there.
Pure Necessity is a lifestyle service offering career and leadership development, real estate resources, and motivational speaking to jumpstart your legacy building. While I am happy to work with anyone looking to build their legacy, I have a heart and passion for young professionals. Why? Because I've been right where you are, trying to forge my path without clear direction, yet a burning desire to do and have more. If you are ready to position yourself for abundance, visit my website at purenecessity.life. Your legacy is essential.
Perfectly
Yes.
imperfect. Mhm.
I love it because I think like you said, I had the mommy makeover after. I was like, as soon as I have my last child, I'm doing it. That's the gift to myself. Because like you said, we bring in life into this world. We Our bodies take over so much. They do so much. And so I was like, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm not gonna apologize for it either.
Mhm.
So that's amazing. So you mentioned, I mean, some of the things that we as women go through. You mentioned postpartum. I actually had to go through, and I recognized it. Like before you leave the hospital, they show you this little video, and they said, "Do you feel this, and that?" I checked all the boxes. I was like, "Yep, I have postpartum. I do," and I don't feel like we talk about it enough. Because some women are just like, "Oh yeah, I'll just get over it," but sometimes you don't. Have you had some of those? Can you relate to that? Have you had some experiences?
You know, I never thought I did, but after my first child, Kendall, and when I look back to that now, I think I probably had a little bit of it. There was a bit of a cloud, you
Mm-hmm,
know, but I
mm-hmm.
didn't realize it. No one ever said you have
This
postpartum. I
is
mean,
it.
I
Yeah.
don't think I ever realized it until I wasn't in a bit of a cloud, you know. And then I was like, wow, what
Yeah.
did I come out of? But I
Yeah.
really, I think I think there's levels to it. I think that was
Mm-hmm,
like a baby fog, you know, where
mm-hmm.
you're like, where did I put my glasses? And your glasses are on your face. And you're like, oh my God, who has my keys? Stop playing with me. Somebody has my keys. And your keys are sitting right there.
There. Or you're on the phone looking for the phone. Have you ever done that? I've done that.
Hold on. 1 second. Hold on. I got to get my phone. Where is my phone? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's real. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And then it's like, I don't know, as we get older, I'm like, man, this forgetfulness, this
Mhm.
like anyway, yeah, I totally understand. I want to pivot a little bit and talk about purpose. What does purpose mean to you?
Having purpose
Mm-hmm.
or walking in your purpose.
Walking in your purpose.
You know, I do consider myself to be purpose driven and lead a purpose driven life. And so many people, when we talk about that, because, you know, you see folks all over social media saying that now, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think people can fully digest it because no one really understands what that
Mm-hmm.
means. What do you
Mm-hmm.
mean? Am I living in purpose, on purpose, with a
Mm-hmm.
purpose? You know,
Mm-hmm.
am I aligned with my purpose?
Yeah.
Here's what it is. Here's what it is. When you recognize that you were put here on this earth for a mission, for perhaps a mission larger than you ever really realized. And then, okay, there's one thing to recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
There's another thing to actually take action with it. So you recognize it, and then you decide courageously that I am going to be on assignment and live out this mission, right? So for me, um, I believe that my purpose is to educate, empower, and enlighten.
Mm-hmm.
It's to use my platform to draw in the masses with my authentic self
Mm-hmm.
to, to evoke people to lead their best lives. So there's one thing for me to recognize that and say, I want to do this. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
want to listen, I want to empower people. You know, I want to inspire people. It's another thing. It's another thing to wake, pray, and grind,
Ooh, I
right?
like
And to get on that mission every day and
Mhm.
actually be the living spirit of that, you know, to say,
Mhm.
you know, listen, I'm not perfect. Here
Mhm.
is my journey. And hopefully you get something from the reason we go through hell, Harli, truly, I believe the reason we go through hell in our lives is so we can come out on the other side empowered with buckets of water to help other women put their
Oh,
fire out.
I just got chills. I
I
literally
believe
just
that.
got chills. I
So
got chills.
what use is it for us to go through or grow through things if we only keep it to ourselves?
Absolutely. You weren't given this gift just so you could hold on to it. This was given to you so you could share with other people, so you could serve people with your gift, with your
Mhm,
purpose.
mhm.
I really truly believe that. I love your definition of purpose. That totally aligns with what I think of. And I think especially as mothers on the go, we think about those mothers that are going through the daily grind of life, right? You have multiple kids. They have all these extracurricular activities. You probably might have a job, or you may be a stay-at-home mom, which is a job, okay? And then you make sure that the household is taken care of. You have a spouse. And then when you have a conversation with someone and you're like, you know what? I feel like there is something missing. I feel like, you know, there's something missing. And then the person that you're talking to says, what is wrong with you? You have the healthy kids, you have the house, you have the career, you have everything. How could you be so ungrateful? And so then you start doubting yourself and you take a step back. But it is really, my message is really it is allowing women to break through that message. No, you have an ultimate purpose
You know,
outside of home and work.
here's the thing. Wanting all that God has called for you to be is
Mhm.
not being ungrateful.
Absolutely.
Right? If you feel deep in your soul every day something's missing, something
Mhm.
is
Something is missing.
missing. And
Yeah.
it's something that you're not going to find in a husband or in another person or in a friend. It's
Hmm.
you have to find in yourself.
Right.
You have you have to find peace. You got to
Hmm.
find joy, and only we are responsible for our happiness in this world. You got
Exactly.
to chase it. You got to chase that thing with track shoes on. Okay? So to other people, what we have to recognize is, you know, there are people like the lives that we each lead, other people may dream of it. They may want it. They may be on their knees daily praying for exactly what you have. So
Hmm.
when you tell people something's missing or you seem ungrateful to them, that is
Hmm.
because they're casting what their desires and their wishes for their life on to you. No
Yes.
one can tell you how to live your life, what you need or what you're missing. And so what I suggest is instead of sharing your heart with people,
Hmm.
this is what woe's me. Oh, I'm so depressed. Oh, I don't have this. Oh, I don't have. Don't share your heart with people. Share your heart
Hmm.
with God
Mm.
because there's no judgment there. Okay.
Exactly.
And only there are you going to be able to manifest and fill in those gaps that are missing so you feel whole.
Hmm. What are some things that as you were walking on that journey of purpose, and you go through trials, you go through situations, what what is it that you held on to in the course of that journey that you feel like really allowed you to keep moving forward, to trust the process, to continue walking on this journey? Because we're not going to say, "Ooh, Egypt is here today and she's got it made and it's just been a walk in the park." We are not going to say that, because people look at you now and they see where you are now, but they have no idea where you came from. They have no
Mhm.
idea what you had to endure, what you had to go through, especially as a woman of color in the entertainment industry. So what is it that kept you grounded? That kept you from taking one more step every
Yeah.
single day.
You know, I do believe that there are those who look at my now and
Mm-hmm.
they don't know the story to the glory at
Mm-hmm.
all. They have
Absolutely.
no idea the sleepless nights, the amount of work, the jobs I had to take when I was unemployed, um, and I have worked. Nothing in my life has ever been given to me. I never had a sugar daddy. I never had a sugar mama. I never had a God fairy or whatever you call it, a godmother or anything like that. Every single thing that is in my life, I manifested through hard work and prayer. Hard work and prayer, not one without the other. And so the thing, even in the darkest of nights, even when I did not know how I would come back, even when I sometimes felt like I couldn't stand and there was nobody there to lift me off the ground, the thing that kept me centered was very early on, I found a spiritual base. You got to find a center. You got to find a base that you can come back to. I think that gave me hope so that I didn't fall into some of the traps others fall into and think about doing things to myself. Nope, because I love myself too much. I know God loves me and I love me. So at the end of the day, if I have to go back and work at Chuck E. Cheese, that's what I got to do. But also, and I don't know where I got this from. I feel like was it Kumit? I think it was Kumit. There was a woman who was she was teaching me meditation when I was about 18 years old. My mom introduced me because she was also a nutritionist. And I feel like some of her words when I was that young and impressionable may have really stuck to my ribs. And so because I cannot remember exactly, I think I'm going to accredit it to this woman. She's the reason I stopped eating red meat and pork and cow's milk and so many other things all my life. But she's also the reason that I recognize meditation is important, and spirituality does not conflict with religion, despite what some people believe. Spirituality and religion can go very much hand in hand. And so there was that, but also I have always likened myself to a spirit animal. And I know, but I'm gonna tell you how it's worked in my life. And so you do what works for you, I'll do what works for me. But I have always likened myself to a spirit animal, something that has taken theme in my life. And for me, it was a phoenix. Because when I would crash and burn and turn to ashes. Literally, people thought I was done and dead for it. And that has been all my life, even since I was a child. When I crash hard. But from the ashes comes beauty. From the ashes, I've constantly rebuilt myself to be better and stronger with lessons learned until I can fly again and spread my wings again. And so I, in those hardest of times where I thought I couldn't get back up, I was dead and done, buried in ashes. I would say, now what does a phoenix do?
Rises from the ashes.
Rise again, get up, get up and rebuild.
I love it. One of the mission statement of the podcast is there's purpose in your story. So what I truly believe in is no matter what you're going through, no matter what that experience is, what that story is, there's a purpose in it. There's a lesson to be learned. There's a reason why you're going through it, through the fire. Sometimes it feels like, but there's always a reason for it. And so what you just said absolutely resonates, because there's a reason why you had to go through that to get to where you are today. So I love it. If you could go back and redo anything, would you?
There are times where I would say, dag, I need a do-over. But ultimately, no, because if I've done something over, even when I fail, I might not have succeeded at other things. You know? And I think I had to redefine the way that I view failure. Failure is, it's a trial run.
Yes, it's a trial run, right? I love it.
Trial run. It's your chance. It's rehearsal.
Yeah.
So you'll be prepared when you have the real trial. Yeah.
I love it. What was a challenging time in your life, and how do you talk about your spiritual base, your spiritual foundation? So I would imagine that was probably one of the biggest reasons why you overcame that time. But what was a really challenging time for you in your life?
I think a challenging time in my life, probably after my first child,
Okay.
because we made the decision to relocate, my
Mm-hmm.
husband and I. And I just woke up and felt like, you know what, God wants to do something else with me, and it's not here in New York anymore. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know where it is, so I'm gonna keep listening, but I'm letting you
Mm-hmm.
know, babe, I'm on alert. God wants to do something else. And
Mm-hmm.
it, and then a year later, I kept hearing Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
But a year later, I actually had 2 job offers at the same time in Atlanta. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, babe, I feel like this is the next thing. This is what I'm
Mm-hmm.
being called to do, but what does that mean for him? When you're
Yeah.
married, you become, part of a collective, we're a
Right.
family unit now. So, but he was willing to trust what I felt I was called to do. And that, women, we don't, and my husband is a unique being. He really is. Because I think a lot of times it's the other way around. Like we wind up
Mhm.
following our husbands or what they want
Right.
to do.
Right.
But I think I married someone who believed in me so much and
Mm-hmm.
trusted me and my instincts so much
Mm-hmm.
that when I said it's time to go to grow, he was like, where are we going?
Mm-hmm.
And that what that meant for him, because he had a business and he had
Mm-hmm.
a career, that meant he had to also redefine. We both had to relearn. We had to learn a whole new city. We had to, at the same time, learn how to be parents, uh,
Mm-hmm.
learn how to exist without family around to help
Mm-hmm.
us. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a village here at that time. It was a
Right.
struggle. It was a struggle, but if anything, it pulled us closer together because now
Mm-hmm.
it was like, all right, we go from just being husband and wife to being partners. We
Yes.
have to communicate, we got to work in sync, and we got to
Mm-hmm.
build
Yes.
together, and we got to do
Yes.
fast.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so that's how I think, again, pressure bust pipes, but it
Yeah.
also, yeah.
I love it. And you do something, I believe you do it annually, but you do have like a couples getaway or couples retreat that you and your husband host or put together. Tell us a little bit
No,
about
no, but you're speaking something into existence.
that.
No, we've attended
Oh,
them.
okay. Okay.
We've attended them, but we have a podcast ourselves. It's called
Yes.
the Marriage and Money Podcast with Egypt and Mike. Y'all got to watch it. We got a new one
Yes.
drop every week where we talk about everything. Um,
Everything.
life before marriage, life during marriage,
Yes.
for some, life after marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And we get into the nitty-gritty as grown folks talk. So,
Okay.
um,
Love it.
but yeah, we do it for fun, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you, as a catharsis. I'm sure like what you're doing right now,
Mm-hmm.
often we're more defined by what we need, and
Yes.
we felt we needed
Exactly.
fellowship. We
Yes.
were like, fellowship. We need other couples that are doing this so we can
Right.
surround ourselves with it. And that's
Yes.
why we created it. Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. So how do you manage everything that you do, being a mother, a wife, a role model, a real estate guru, an entertainer, like, ma'am, ma'am,
Ma'am.
ma'am.
When I'm done managing this, I'll let you know. Because right now I'm still figuring it out, ma'am.
Okay.
No, every day I just get up and then I'm like, all right, how can I be great? How can I make my family great? Is everybody okay? If my
Mhm.
kids are happy
Yeah.
and my household is happy and we're functioning in a non-toxic way, I feel
Mhm.
like that's success. I've had the career success and I
Mhm.
love it and I'm grateful for it,
Mhm.
but I feel like not enough is, we don't give ourselves enough credit for the fact that we're keeping our kids alive. We're keeping them fed, we're keeping a roof over their head, but we're
Yeah.
also giving them, a base to come back.
Yes. The
I mean, that
foundation.
means a lot. It might, social media
Mm.
makes people feel like they're not doing enough.
Mhm.
It makes
Mhm.
everybody, and I think that's where a lot of depression comes from. You
Yes.
get on the gram and you see other people's lives or what you think is their life,
Yes.
and you think, oh, I'm not doing enough. Oh, and you start feeling bad and questioning your purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, but what if your purpose truly is to be the love and light of your home? You know, to
Mm-hmm.
be the backbone of your family structure. And if that's what makes you happy when the lights go off, then
Mm-hmm.
so be it. You know,
Yes.
but everyone's purpose is it's not big, you know.
Right.
Everybody
Right.
doesn't have to have a TV show. Everyone doesn't have
Right.
to have a radio show. I
Absolutely.
mean, there are people resonating and making a difference that have earned their wings, and
Mm-hmm.
people don't even know their names. You know, they're
Exactly.
not even on social media.
Yep.
So, you know, do what makes you happy, and there you have it.
I love it. And so, what advice would you give to that mother or that woman that is striving to get to a certain place in her career, or that mother that's just like, listen, like you said, my kids are alive today. I can't take on any more.
And that is success.
Exactly.
Right.
What advice would you have for her?
Say it one more time. What advice for I have that woman that would do what?
That woman that's, she's building her career, she's building her surroundings. She might be a mother, she may not be. She could be just a high achieving career woman, and she's like in the thick of it. Like she's in the process of building. What advice would you have for
Pace yourself.
her?
Pace yourself. You know, you don't have to get there fast.
Yeah.
Pace yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The process is probably the best part of the journey. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we think that, you know, and a lot of people ignore the process. They, you know, on the road to success, they're trampling every flower that comes up instead of pacing yourself to appreciate the growth in the part of
Mm-hmm.
the journey that you're in right now. Because
Mm-hmm.
once you get there, and you will,
Yeah.
once you get there, you can't get all this back.
Yeah. That's right. We talk about how kids grow up so fast, right? And then we think, especially, I have a 16-year-old, can't believe it, but I have a 16-year-old, and I'm sitting here thinking, but he was like 2 yesterday. What happened?
And we have one graduating college literally next month. And you know, she's my bonus baby, but when I came into her life, she was 3. She was
Mm-hmm.
3.
Mm-hmm.
And uh it's mind-blowing. Time waits for nobody
It
at
does.
all. So
Mm-hmm.
here's what I'll say, you know, as we wrap up. Here's what I'll say, because we know time waits for no one. And we all got to go. And when we go, we're going to go the way we came in, unless you were twin, which is by yourself, by yourself. And that time goes by so fast that all that matters in between really is that you lived a joyous life. That's it. It's not about who did this first, who did that, how this looks, your waistline in this year versus your waistline in this year. All that matters in between is that you led a joyous life. Otherwise, what was this all about?
All right. You left us with a very deep question. Otherwise, what was it all about? I love it. Thank you so much for dropping those words of, I do have one last question.
Sure.
And so you had the opportunity to interview many people right now that we consider famous or whatever. You even had the opportunity to interview Oprah. What would you say was probably one of your most meaningful interviews?
Oh, goodness. I mean, probably Prince.
Ooh,
That's when I realized the power of manifestation.
got it.
You know, truly what we pour our energy into, what we speak into ourselves. Because
Mhm,
when I was a child,
mhm.
Prince was you know, here we go. And I am going to end on this because this to me, right? When I was a child, I had a poster of Prince on
Mhm,
his Purple Rain poster.
mhm.
Um, and I also had Michael Jackson's Off the Wall poster right
Oh,
next
two
to
legends. Yes.
Michael Jackson with the yellow cardigan. And
Uh-huh.
when I it was funny enough, when I would go to sleep at night, I would look at both of them and I would say, that's my husband and that's my lover. Michael Jackson in the yellow is my husband and Prince is my lover, right?
Okay, got
But
it.
I loved them both so much as artists.
Mhm.
But what I did at that time, and I didn't realize, is I was manifesting, I was calling certain energies into my life. So check this out. And so this is how we have to be very careful what we speak over ourselves, and very intentional and very specific.
Mhm.
So I was engaged to a Michael.
Mhm.
He wasn't the one. He wasn't exact. I'm
Mhm.
married Michael Jackson. I am Mrs. Michael Jackson. My husband is Michael Jackson. I interviewed Prince. I was the very last interview, and I was the first he had done in years and the last he did before he died, unfortunately. And I had the opportunity to sit face to face and talk to him for over an hour.
Mhm.
And that was such an honor, and it was a privilege. And I got to sing on stage, live on stage with him at Madison Square Garden. Who could have ever called that or predicted that for their lives or but way, 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 way back when, I was calling that energy to me.
Right.
So be careful what energy you're calling to yourself, and
Mhm.
be intentional about the
Absolutely.
energy, because it will come.
Yes, it will. But that's amazing, and we could not be ending this in on a better note. So I want to thank you again for
Thank
honoring
you.
us with your words of wisdom, for coming on the pod and sharing your story
Thank you,
with
Harli.
us. And I really truly appreciate it. And hopefully, there'll be some more opportunities to to hear from you, to get some more wisdom as we go through life.
Thank
Um,
you.
and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
I appreciate
And
you. This has been a great conversation, and I wish
thank
you and
you.
your audience the absolute best. Make
Yeah,
sure you go and follow the Marriage and Money
Money
podcast.
podcast,
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
podcast on YouTube, it's video. And
Yes.
then my husband keeps reminding me that. He's like, babe, you tell people to follow the podcast on YouTube. That's not the podcast. The podcast is on Apple and Spotify. The podcast is on YouTube. I'm like, God, podcast. But
Okay, yes. They'll follow us. They'll find us. They'll follow
yeah,
us.
and then watch the show Married to Real Estate on
Absolutely.
HGTV and Discovery
Absolutely.
Plus. But
Thank
thank you
you
so much
so
for the
much, DJ.
opportunity. Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
All right, bye.
I hope you enjoyed our show today. Hit the subscribe button and share. Share this pod with your family, with your friends, with your girlfriends, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Inside the Bubble with HG. Keep the conversation going. Drop us a heart emoji, engage with us. We would love to hear from you. New episodes are dropping every Monday on your podcast streaming platforms. And remember, there's purpose in your story.